Welcome to the Real Short Box. My name is Kevin.
I'm Donald.
And I'm Jared.
Today we have 3 new battles for you to enjoy, to get excited about. And,
Ooh, what do we have?
well, we have the Battle of World War II Heroes, the Battle of the Knights, and the Battle of the Wingmen.
Battle of the Wingmen.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like
About
me.
guys who help out other guys get laid.
Yeah, that's like every night in college for me.
Well, you know what? I think these 2 wingmen could help you get some action.
Oh, well, shit. Bring it on. I'm in.
You're in?
Yeah, go for it.
All right then, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let the Smackdown begin. And first up, I want to start with the Shining Knights of Armor.
Oh, okay. We can start with me. I have a it's a one-on-one this time. No 3-way action. Sorry to all the perverts out there.
People like the superhero menage a trois.
Right.
I got an orgy coming up. Don't worry.
Yeah. Jared's got the orgy. I'm gonna warm you up here real good and get you all nice and loose.
Old fashioned.
Oh, an old-fashioned, eh? Old-fashioned. Hey, give me an old-fashioned, eh? Okay, so I have the Black Knight versus the Shining Knight.
I like that.
So let's begin with, first of all, I'd like to just give a quick shout-out to our comic book group, the Super Palookas.
Yes.
And the fact that they have rekindled my love, my undying love for the Black Knight. And you know who you are in that group. But I'm going to go with the Dane Whitman version of the Black Knight. He's the most current version. Well, the most current version.
Right.
There was, I believe, a female Black Knight that came to be.
And then there was his ancestor too, right? Like
Yeah.
an old. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into that. Dane Whitman, he's the 3rd Black Knight. He's a descendant of the original Black Knight, Sir Percy of Scandia. Or Scandia. Scandia probably sounds more appropriate.
I like Scandia because it's like that race car place you can go to in California where you could
go.
go to an arcade and do mini golf.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
He's the knight of that.
He inherited the original knight's ebony blade, which is a mystical sword that carried a curse.
Badass weapon.
Now, anybody know what the curse is?
Pray tell.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, he lost his toenails. No, every time he used it, it drove him closer to madness.
Wow.
Just any bit?
Anytime he used it, it drove him. Imagine, like, you have this badass weapon that you just want to show people. Like, hey, look at this. You know, it's like comparing dick sizes.
Right.
Hey, look at my sword. You want to see a sword? And he pulls his out. Look at this sword. It's the ebony blade.
Now I'm a little bit crazier.
Yeah. And now give me your fingernails. You know, it's like he's kind of lost it there. But Whitman is the nephew of Nathan Garrett, who's a supervillain.
Not to be mistaken with me, Jarrett.
Right, or Dan Garrett, who's the original
Blue Beetle.
But Nathan Garrett is a supervillain who was also known as the Black Knight. Dane Whitman took up the Black Knight name to help restore honor to it.
That Black Knight was part of the Masters of Evil. I remember he was one of the original Masters of Evil.
Yeah. There's some cool throwbacks that Marvel does with these characters for sure. But he started out with his uncle's non-magical tools, namely a power lance that fired energy blasts, a suit of body armor, and Aragorn, a genetically engineered flying white horse.
Right.
Because why not have a genetically engineered flying white horse?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Right. If you're going to fight crime, you might as well have a flying white horse to do it. He's a Dane. He's a longtime member of various incarnations of groups such as the Avengers, even leading them at one point, as well as the Defenders, Ultra Force, which many of you may have forgotten.
Wow.
Heroes for Hire, believe it or not.
The 90s version.
Right,
Yeah.
as well as MI-13. Whitman started out as a scientist, though specializing in physics. He had earned a master's degree in physics, actually. He's proficient in a wide array of advanced sciences and technologies. So, believe it or not, the Black Knight, who's known for sorcery and swordsmanship and stuff, actually prefers to use science and technology in his battles before he resorts to the others.
That's smart.
And it might have to also do because that blade will drive him insane.
Yeah.
You know. Some of his powers, genetic and mechanical engineering. He's an expert at that. He's an expert swordsman. He's a skilled martial artist, which I did not know myself.
Oh, that's funny.
He's an expert horseman, having ridden a flying white horse into battle so many times. He has magical knowledge, which is also interesting because he could maybe, be like, hey, Doctor Strange, you want to teach me a few things? That kind of stuff.
Right.
He's a skilled tactician. So, obviously, he would have to be, led the Avengers and Ultra Force. He has minor mystical abilities. He can see through mystical illusions, which I also found interesting. He, at one point, this often varies in Marvel characters. They'll get a power and then lose the power. Pretty much any comic book, really. But at one point, he had the Shield of Night, which protected him from attacks and absorbed energy, like hits. So if the Hulk came over and punched him and he used the Shield of Night to protect himself, that hit would generate a response back to the Hulk and knock the Hulk back.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he could protect himself. He also had the Sword of Light. He had the Shield of Night, Sword of Light. You want to guess what that does? It was able to project the energy absorbed by the Shield of Night.
Was that like the lightsaber he had for a little bit? It looked like a...
Yeah, I think so.
Sometime in the 90s, he had like what it looked like a lightsaber or something like that.
I think that's the one. If not, it's something else that he made himself, and I can't remember the name of that. Yeah,
Science-y.
Right. But this Sword of Light could cut through almost anything.
Okay.
His big weaknesses were basically what I could surmise from reading this is using the ebony blade too much, which would
Don't
drive
use
him,
that super badass weapon you got a lot.
right, because it'll drive him nuts, and then eventually he just goes crazy, and that would be the end of him. Also, not having his sword or gadgets. If he did not have his armor, his sword, things like that, he would not be very... He'd still be a proficient swordsman.
And martial artist.
And martial artist, yes. But beyond that...
He'd be vulnerable to like puncture wounds.
And they really didn't get too much into his magical knowledge. He might know magic, but maybe he doesn't know how to cast spells or use magic so much.
Right.
Like a John Constantine.
Right. Well, he would be like a very low rent John Constantine. Because as we all know, John Constantine won that battle.
That's right.
But that's the Black Knight in a nutshell. Very cool character. Actually, one of the coolest characters that actually got me into the Avengers and made me interested in them, which is surprising. You get all these other guys in there, and just this one dude with a sword and a helmet and stuff, I just found very appealing.
Well, we talked on another podcast about that. One of my favorite, was it 90s story? No, 80s stories was that Marvel, the Under Siege with Avengers, and Black Knight was huge in that, and that was how I got turned on to him. I thought he was super cool.
And also, if I recall, he's kind of had an encounter with one of our favorite X-Men villains, Exodus, back in the day.
Yeah, they have a history, too. Or his descendant in, like, medieval times and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff involving the Black Knight.
He's a cool character.
Yeah, very cool character. Now we're going to go a little bit more towards old school. And this is the Shining Knight. Now, the Shining Knight is a DC Comics book character. Sir Justin was the Shining Knight. He was also the newest member of the Knights of the Round Table, who vowed to avenge the death of Sir Falion at the hands of the evil ogre Blunderbore. Talk about a name. Blunderbore.
Bitch, Blunderbore.
So, on his journey to avenge the death of Sir Falion, he met and freed the wizard Merlin, who was trapped in a tree previously by a witch. Don't really know why. He was just trapped in a tree. So he saved him, rescued him from the tree, and Merlin's like, "Oh, thank you, young man. I'm going to transform you." So he does, and he uses his magic to make his old rusty armor a lovely golden
Shining armor.
Shining, yes. Very comfortable shining armor. He thanked him, Sir Justin did, and then went on his way to continue on his quest. So when he met Blunderbore at the top of the icy mountains in Northland, the two battled, with Justin eventually winning and killing Blunderbore. However, right before he died, Blunderbore, he caused an amazing avalanche that quickly buried Justin and himself. However, neither of them died, and instead, if this sounds familiar, were frozen in suspended animation.
Just like that Captain America guy.
Right?
Amongst others.
By the year 1941, Justin was finally discovered and released out of suspended animation by a museum curator. Realizing he must now live in a modern world, in 1941, that's
crazy times.
An interesting change of pace.
World War II.
He decided to fight crime with his skills as a knight, and soon took on the civilian alias of Justin Arthur. Kind of a throwback to King Arthur, Sir Justin. He eventually met heroes like the Crimson Avenger and the Vigilante, which soon became one of his best friends.
The cowboy vigilante, by the way.
Right. And after meeting other heroes, they formed the Seven Soldiers of Victory.
So it's kind of like a modern-day round table?
Right, yeah. So the powers of the Shining Knight, a lot of it's very similar to the Black Knight. The Shining Knight has a sword that can cut through anything. It doesn't say almost anything. It says it can cut through anything. His armor is invulnerable. His shield is invulnerable. And when Sir Justin was given his powers by Merlin, Merlin gave him his horse, Victory.
Pegasus
winged
type horse.
Pegasus horse, allowing him to fly. Also, he made that horse invulnerable.
Merlin's a good friend to have.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Shining Knight's weaknesses, nothing's really stated, though I imagine he's vulnerable without his armor, sword, shield, and horse.
Right.
Because even if you're vulnerable, you can hide behind your invulnerable horse, I would imagine. One interesting tidbit of this is that, unlike the Black Knight, the Shining Knight was really given a moment to shine. And that was in an episode of the Justice League Unlimited.
It's a great episode.
And, I'm bringing that up because it is my absolute favorite episode of Justice League Unlimited. And it shows the strength of everyday characters.
Right.
Characters that don't necessarily have the most power in the world.
Wasn't there some parade or something like that? And they couldn't get, like, the top 7, like Aquaman.
Yeah, everybody was out of town or something.
Right.
So it goes like this. He faced off against, the Shining Knight did, against General Wade Elling, I believe was his name. Eiling?
Yeah.
Okay. Who had turned himself into a super soldier to eliminate metahumans. Now that...
The Shaggy Man. For real.
Yeah?
He took the body of that creature, the Shaggy Man.
That's right.
Who was, like, invulnerable and completely, like a Hulk almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that was voiced by...
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Okay,
Yes.
J.K. Simmons, yes. He was the guy that played General Wade. Basically, he took on the body of the Shaggy Man, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And
he put his brain in the body of the Shaggy Man.
And he turned himself into this super soldier to eliminate metahumans who he thought were dangerous.
By becoming one himself.
Right. So this big fight ensues, and all the major Justice Leaguers are out. They're gone doing other things. So all that's left is people like the Vigilante, which is a cowboy on a bike.
Yeah.
The Shining Knight, Green Arrow, and then when they call for backup, I believe they bring the Crimson Avenger and
right.
Speedy and one or two other people.
They make a good joke too. They're like, "We need backup." They're like, "Backup's here," and they're like, "Oh."
So it's Crimson Avenger and my former psych.
Another arrow dude and a gun guy.
Great, yeah. So basically this big fight ensues, and Justin is notably the only person who actually wounds General Wade, due to his sword's properties, of course. General Wade had taken down Justin's teammates, and he stood no chance against him. However, despite numerous warnings from General Wade, Justin refused to stand down and was basically beaten to almost a pulp. But he refused. And basically, all the bystanders kind of ran to his rescue and was like, "No, what are you doing? This makes no sense."
Right.
So General Wade was like, "Oh my God, what have I done? I've become what I hate."
Right.
And so he ran off.
God, I gotta watch that episode again.
It's
I love
so
that
good.
episode.
We should watch it after this podcast.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it basically showed the strength and the fortitude that Sir Justin has.
How noble he was.
Right.
Yeah.
How noble he was and how he would give his life for anything. I don't believe that's the same thing for the Black Knight. I think the Black Knight has that name for a reason. He's a little dark. Regardless of how good he is, he's still a little dark. Aside from his magical knowledge, which we do or do not know would give him any type of an edge, it's basically coming down to the fact that he has a sword, and through this sword, it gives him strength and some form of shielding. Whereas the Shining Knight has a sword, and through his magical sword, his magical armor, and his shield, he also has shielding. They both have horses that can fly. They both have swords. They both have shields. They both have armor. You take that away, you have the man. You have a Black Knight who's a skilled tactician. You have the Shining Knight, who is also a skilled tactician, or he would have to be in order to be a Knight of the Round Table, I would imagine. So between the two of these guys, honestly, as much as it pains me to say it, and you people that know me would know why I'm saying this, I would give it to the Shining Knight. Mm-hmm. The Shining Knight is just such a good, strong, honorable man with, when he's wearing these things, the power of next to a god.
Yeah.
Whereas the Black Knight is a man of great strength, power, and a very great tactician. But he has a sword that when he uses it, weakens him every time.
It's cursed, yeah.
And if he's not using that sword, he's using the Sword of Light. But we never know which sword he's using because they've redacted and changed things so much with this character. So the most popular thing about the Black Knight is that sword. So I'm keeping that sword into play. So it's going to drive him insane. It could drive him to the point of absolute madness, and the Shining Knight could simply just take him out.
Right.
Either way, you take that sword out of the equation, I still think the Shining Knight takes it. He's a man of honor. He's a man of skill. He's a man of much strength. To be able to take on something like a mutated Shaggy Man,
right,
toe to toe. And then we're basing this off cartoons versus comics, and I get that. But when you're dealing with characters of obscurity like these, you don't have that much to go on, to be honest.
That's true.
Yeah.
They don't have a Shining Knight comic book. They don't have a Black Knight comic book. The best we got was a Shining Knight issue, I think like 4-part maybe at best, during
the Grant Morrison
Morrison run. And the Black Knight had a few runs here in the 90s, and like miniseries. And then he also had a most recent run in Weird World, I believe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he had and they canceled it after like 5 or 6 issues, and it wasn't bad, actually. It was pretty decent. But again, he had the Ebony Blade, and it was driving him insane. So that's where I'm going to lead with this one. I'm going to go Shining Knight, hands down on this.
So my question to you, using my chess versus checkers theory, you feel that the Shining Knight is playing chess in this battle. He has the edge because of maybe because he's one thing, he might be a little bit older. And he has...
I don't even know if it comes to chess and checkers in this. The way I took it is...
Like, who has the best strategy, you believe?
It's not even strategy. Shining Knight is... His magic is pure. Straight up from Merlin, the source. Everybody knows Merlin. He's like the quintessential wizard. To this cursed... outsider knight.
Right.
It's just... There's too many... chinks in the armor of for Black Knight. Shining Knight is just, it's noble and pure. He's kind of like the Captain America of knights,
But with that Ebony Blade, if he just said, you know what, it's just a battle to the death, and he's willing to just lose it all, would he have a chance at the Shining Knight if he just used every bit of his...
But that's what I'm saying. So he goes ape shit nuts, and he goes into some Wolverine Berserker rage. The Shining Knight's blade can cut through anything. He can just deflect that and slice his ebony blade in half.
So it's possible he could... Okay, I was about to ask that question.
And
he could have sliced the ebony blade in half.
I thought of this.
Okay.
And I'm very glad you asked that.
Okay.
Because I don't know how many people know this, but Merlin, according to the history of Merlin, is not exactly a great man.
No, he's flawed. Just watch the Disney Sword in the Stone. He's
kind of a dick. But he also... if I'm correct, has something in him from Satan himself.
Really?
He's the spawn of the devil.
Really?
Essentially. I believe it was his mother had sex with Satan.
With Lucifer himself?
Yes.
Wow.
And it created Merlin.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I believe, if I'm correct, I believe that's what happened. And that's how Merlin was created. So Merlin always has this dark side to him.
Right.
Merlin is not a good man. But he tries to be a good man. He struggles. And
Don't we all?
Right. This is why I relate a lot with Merlin. You have these demons, and you constantly fight them. He has this gray area. So who's to say that there's not a little wickedness in this armor and in this sword for the Shining Knight?
Right.
Now, Sir Justin makes it pure.
Right.
So it comes down to the purity of the man.
Yeah.
Sir Justin, to me, is a more pure and honest man than Dane Whitman.
Now, I got a quick monkey wrench I want to throw into this.
Sure.
These guys are fighting. What if Black Knight got a hold of Shining Knight's sword? What happens then?
I don't know. No one's ever really said if the sword works for anybody else, if in their possession.
Is it like a Thor thing where like
It could
only
be-
Thor
Or
can-
vice
can
versa, too. Or
lose?
if the ebony blade
Right.
in another
Shine
person's
Knight's
hand, yeah.
Right, although I believe the Ebony Blade has been used with other characters before. So it's an interesting quandary we're in with that. But I still think that the Shining Knight would find a way. And this is
edge.
just solely, and I swear, this is just solely based off that episode and that in Justice League Unlimited, that the Shining Knight would find a way to succeed.
Before that episode, I knew the Shining Knight from, like, my Who's Who books that I used to have.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But all I thought of him before that was, remember that game Dragon Slayer?
Yes.
That I
Yes.
was like, oh, he looks like the guy from Dragon Slayer, even though he was way before that. But that's all I always thought about. Yeah, he's the Dragon Slayer Knight guy. But no, I'm positively going Shining Knight as well.
So we've got me for Shining Knight, Jarrett for Shining Knight, Kevin.
Well, after listening to the arguments here, I will concur. All three of us will say it. The Shining Knight gets the win.
Dane Whitman, we are sorry. We all
We are so
care
sorry.
about you.
We respect you, Black Knight. We love you.
Yeah.
I know Namas Thomas isn't extremely disappointed in this one.
It's part of your Pelucas group.
He's like,
Yes.
see.
I told you
see?
so. He'll never amount to anything.
So first, he's gonna be mad at you about the whole Magneto thing.
Well, everybody will be mad at me about that. I think everybody in the known world will be mad at me about that. But they gotta listen to reason, man. They gotta
right.
listen to reason.
Listen.
You know
The
what?
argument.
Listening to the argument and listen to a argument to back him up, and then just me asking a couple questions. You know what? It looks like you're saying Merlin is this wicked man, which I did not know behind the scenes, or being the spawn of the devil. You know,
Well, he's not necessarily a wicked man, but there is an evil streak in him. And he does have some bad in him. I mean, obviously, if you're part good, part devil,
Right.
there's going to be some give and take.
Well, you blessing some wickedness with that armor. That's kind of scary. So yeah, I have to give the edge to the Shining Knight on that one.
All right, Shining Knight it is, everybody.
All right, I like that.
All right, so who's next?
I'll go next.
And you are... No, I'm just kidding. And you have...
What I have is the Battle of the Wingmen that you guys were getting a little bit off on. What I have is DC's Hawkman
Nice.
versus Marvel's Archangel.
I love this.
Nice,
I love
nice.
that.
I like that. I thought you were going to go with like sidekicks that were going to try to get me laid.
No. We're going some manly men here.
Although recently in the Hawkman, the Death of Hawkman miniseries that's been out from DC, Adam Strange like teleports in to Hawkman's apartment and sees his dingus. And he's like,
What?
oh my god, no, I
kidding.
can't look at that thing. Oh, you know.
You're kidding.
Essentially stating that it's just huge and he just can't.
You are the John Holmes of DC Comics heroes, Hawkman.
And yet you were reading that book, weren't you?
Yeah, I did. I read it, yeah.
All right. Let's break down the tale of the tape here. We'll start with the good old Archangel, a great X-Man, an interesting person. What I'm doing is I'm going to use the evil Archangel. My little scenario being played out here, I'm going to go with the Archangel that's been possessed by Apocalypse.
Like one of the Four Horsemen.
one of the four.
And probably the character's strongest incarnation.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to bring you the darkest version
Yeah.
of Archangel against the darkest
Yeah, I
version
mean,
of
you know,
Hawkman.
I don't ever necessarily see a character that I have wings as like being strong.
No,
You know?
I always thought he was cool. Like, I like the original X-Men, like their original outfits. But I always was like, oh, the Angel, that's cool. He's got wings, and then he's got wings. What else can he do?
Right.
Well, I like the Uncanny X-Force with Rick Remender. I don't know if you read that, Jared. That was a great series. And the
That
way-
was cool how he would like,
Yes.
it was like a Jekyll and Hyde thing,
Yes,
right?
and Psylocke helped control that.
Right.
So when he went Archangel, it wouldn't be like the Apocalypse possessed version.
Right.
But
That was a
Very
badass
clever. It's
story.
very
Yeah,
clever.
I like that. I forgot about that. That was really cool.
But yeah, you got to read it, Donald. Uncanny X-Force, you'll enjoy it.
I'll get right
Yeah.
on that. I'm reading it right now, actually.
He would like turn into Archangel.
It's
It was cool.
Archangel.
Yeah.
But this Archangel, if you're going by what he possesses and his abilities, his wings are composed of razor-sharp, organic steel-like material. It allows him to use them as slashing weapons. He can also expel his feathers at great speed with tremendous force, enabling them to pierce even steel. The feathers are tipped with paralyzing chemical generated by his body, and he's also possessed the ability to convert his life force into solid light to form a pair of energy wings, which is just what you brought up earlier. Now, this is like the later version,
Right.
but we're going to stick with the wing version. And, you know, if you go by his intelligence, you know, Warren Worthington III, which is his real name, he's an intelligent man.
What a name.
He's an intelligent man.
Warren Worthington III. I wear a sweater over my shoulders
He's a
at
blue
all
blood.
time.
Yeah, he's a blue
He's
blood.
got an ascot.
You know, he's on the Fortune 500 list. You know, he's a very good businessman.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, you know. But yes, this is the Archangel. And then on the Hawkman side, he was a much older character, going back to the 40s.
Also, real quick to go to Archangel, he could also fly. Once he was Archangel, he could fly like at Mach 3. I just remember the Marvel card. It was like he could fly at like Mach 3. He could fly exponentially faster than he could when he was just Angel.
Now that you bring it up, according to the stats here, he can fly up to speeds up to 150 miles per hour. Well, actually, then again, Mach 1 would be a little bit more than that. But this is from Marvel.com.
Hey, I'm going Marvel cards. Marvel Get it straight, Marvel.com. Go buy your Marvel cards.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No
Hawkman.
problem. Then you have Hawkman, who is known as Carter Hall, who has lived through multiple lifetimes, going back to when he was Prince Khufu during the 19th Dynasty.
Constantly resurrected.
Constantly resurrected with his lovely lady. And his powers...
Shayera.
Yes, Shayera.
I hear it in the winds.
My new perfume.
You know, perfume. But his powers are many. You know, one is he has blessing, according to this. He was a priest in his past lifetime as Khufu. And he possesses the ability to bless mundane objects.
What does that even mean?
Is that like making things kosher? Like he's just like, this is all blessed.
Well, according to this, he said by muttering a prayer in front of a building sprinkler system, he was once able to convert the water into holy water in order to destroy a vampire, which sounds pretty cool.
That's actually kind of cool.
That's very cool, but that's not going to do anything against Archangel.
No.
In words, it sounds ridiculous, but that holy water thing was kind of cool for
Right, that would be.
Now, also, he has reincarnation, as you met. And by the way, if Catherine meant, was in Hathset, who was like their arch rival back in the, back in the beginning. They're constantly in this weird reincarnation cycle.
Right. Like a threesome?
It's kind of this really bizarre threesome of death, where basically
sexy.
Which they tried to do in the first season of Legends, and just with Vandal Savage.
They just butchered it. That was he was the worst Vandal Savage I've ever seen.
It was cool for like 2 episodes. I was like, he looks like Vandal Savage and all that stuff, and then I was like, I don't want Vandal Savage as the villain anymore. Please just
make him stop. Yeah.
Make him stop. And then you have the weaponry. You know, due to his multiple incarnations and his memory of his past as Khufu and then Carter Hall, he has been a Nighthawk as a marksman with a pistol. He uses a mace, which you've seen a lot in the cartoons or even in the comics.
So he blesses things. He's really strong.
Really
and he has
strong.
that cool metal.
And of course,
the nth degree.
The nth degree, which comes from the planet Thanagar.
Right, because then it goes alien. It goes alien and ancient Egyptian, yeah.
And he's an archaeologist, as Carter Hall. That's his trade, so to speak.
As a reincarnated. Oh, this is getting complicated.
Yeah, it does get a little complicated, but we'll get back to
the most streamlined, I will say, if you want to read the clearest way that somebody actually took all the Hawkman mythos and mythology and just put it together was Jeff Johns. It literally was a 3-part series in the JSA run in the early 2000s, and in 3 issues he completely explained all like how the reincarnation worked, how the future stuff, the alien stuff, and the ancient Egyptian stuff. It's amazing, and it's a great story. It's really cool.
Oh, good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was very good.
So the first time I got, I was like, okay, I'm down for Hawkman.
Yeah, because you were first introduced to Hawkman in his run on Justice Society.
Right.
Right, and then it branched off into the series.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also he has a lot of Nith metal armor. You know, he has metal boots, metal belt, a Nith metal enhancement. He has an enhanced vision, obviously, you know, a vision of a hawk. He can withstand blows from superhuman opponents as powerful as Black Adam.
Oh, well.
Yeah, whatever.
He has accelerated healing.
Oh, that's a good one.
That helps, doesn't it?
That is definitely a good one.
And, of course, his wings, which are artificial. You know, they're not natural as Archangels are. But, you know, they're still effective weapons. Nonetheless. So, getting to the battle at hand, this is how I envision the scenario playing out. I envision the planet Thanagar of Hawkman having a meeting with the council of, you know, elder Thanagarians. He's leaving this meeting, and as he's leaving, he runs into Archangel, who happens to be mining some Nith metal. And the reason why Archangel's mining this Nith metal, he's on a mission from Apocalypse.
He's up to no good.
Rapscallion.
Apocalypse sends him there to mine some Nith metal for his own personal army he wants to add,
right.
And also combine it with his celestial technology because he has plans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Apocalypse has plans. You know, as a horseman, you must follow what he says. So there's
It's true. I worked part-time as a horseman I was a famine for like 6 weeks, and then I got fired because I posted some bad things on Facebook.
Oh boy, that's not good, sir.
Oops.
I'm sorry.
Apocalypse saw it. He was like, "You're bad-mouthing me on Facebook? Really? You asshole? You're out. I'll get a new famine."
And Sabanor did you dirty.
Yeah, he
Yes,
did.
that's something.
But anyway, as this mining happens, Hawkman rolls up on him and says, "Hey, what you doing?" And Mr. Archangel turns around and says, "None of your business, flat skin alien." And he immediately launches those paralyzing feathered wings at him.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkman was able to deflect most of them with his
Ninth metal.
Nith metal, but a couple of them do strike him, and he falls down. Archangel continues on his business. He doesn't care. He just continues to follow the mission. Hawkman comes back at him again. Once again, he launches some of those shrapnels from his wings.
But Hawkman has learned from his last encounter.
Hawkman has learned from this last encounter. And so, he actually launches his mace at Mr. Archangel. I have it hit him in the head or something to that effect. He falls down. He gets back up. And in close quarters, they kind of go at it, a couple punches here and there. And while I see happening is I can see the Archangel's wings engrossing Hawkman almost like a bear hug. Mm-hmm. Like trying to squeeze him.
He starts tickling him.
And also while he's at it, since some of those shrapnel feathers have a paralyzing toxin in it, he's able to get a couple of them into Hawkman, knocking him out, almost killing him. And while he's at it, he's squeezing him to death. He actually breaks some bones into Hawkman.
Oh my goodness.
So it doesn't look good. So they're on the ground. He's, squeezing the life out of him. And at this point, Archangel thinks he's won. So he gets up. He goes on about his business. But little does he know, since the accelerating healing of Hawkman he's not aware of, Hawkman heals. Mm-hmm. And then Hawkman understands how serious this guy is. He uses the Claw of Horus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The Claw of Horus is not a weapon to be underestimated.
And the Claw of Horus plays a role in that Jeff Johns JSA story, too, I remember.
Yeah, he uses it, I think, as one of the 3 seashells that you would have found in Demolition Man, I believe.
The Claw of Horus is a very powerful weapon. It's a gauntlet that's used. It draws power from the Earth's magnetic field and has enough strength to knock out Superman in one punch, which it did. Back in Superman, Batman number 4.
Damn.
That actually did happen.
That's quite a weapon.
So, our buddy Hawkman uses his Claw of Horus to knock the hell out of Archangel.
He'd knock his head off, probably.
Could have, but instead he just, knocks him about 1,000 feet in the air, and he's done.
That's it, huh?
Fight over. But I do have a little twist to this in play. Apocalypse is in the background, kind of watching this.
You can't have Apocalypse coming in. That's not fair.
No. He's not going to come in per se.
If that's the case, I'm bringing in Hulk Hogan.
But no, that will be for
what you gonna do?
No, that'll be for another time. But so I was telling Jared a little earlier before we started this podcast, I kind of had this vision of there being a past history between Hawkman and Apocalypse, since they're both of Egyptian origin.
That can actually make sense, yeah.
And Apocalypse needs that Claw of Horus for his own personal needs, so he may take on the Celestials.
Oh, that, yeah. Okay.
And take them over.
Can do that.
But that's for a story for a different time. But in the end of the day, I believe that Archangel will put up a good fight, but at the end of the day, Hawkman's knowledge, his Nith metal, and of course the Claw of Horus will deliver the victory in the end.
Kevin, I'm going to say I'm really surprised.
That I would give this to Hawkman.
You are a diehard X-Men fan.
That's true.
Diehard.
I am. And what's funny, when I was going into this, I thought Archangel would win. And matter of fact, there's a couple of YouTube videos out there that did the same matchup.
Yeah.
And they gave it to Archangel. And I said, okay, maybe that's true. So I started doing my research on both these characters, and I looked into it. I said, you know what? I don't think so. Because Hawkman has lived multiple lifetimes. He's gathered a lot of knowledge over the years.
Yeah, they always play him as kind of a brute. He's also very smart.
Yeah, he's also a tactician.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a tactician. You know how I love my chess versus checkers theory and strategy. This man plays chess. He's been doing it for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. And
he created the pieces.
Yes. And then when you add in the
He made the game chess.
you add the Thanagarian technology, the nip metal, the Claw of Horus, for crying out loud. There's no contest to me. It really isn't. When it's all said and done, like I said, Archangel, he can use some of the powers that Apocalypse gave to him. Very nice, very effective. They'll shock Hawkman a little bit, as I put it in that little scenario there. But at the end of the day, Hawkman, who has accelerated healing, has this advanced technology. He's almost like we call it demigod in that respect. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
I too am giving it to Hawkman for two big reasons. One, well, you just said the experience level is off the charts. He's like 1,000 years old technically.
He's like Apocalypse's age, for crying out
loud. And Warren Worthington III, as Archangel, was to go with the Black Knight type thing. He was tainted. He was tainted by Apocalypse. So he was kind of. I mean, he's more feral, and he's more wild and savage, but he's still Apocalypse's bitch.
Pretty much.
Where Hawkman is his own man.
Yeah, Carter Hall's his own man.
And not only the tactician stuff, he takes that knowledge, and one of the big things about Hawkman is he was savage. Savage with intelligence is scary.
Heck, there was a comic book from New 52. What was it called? The Savage Hawkman.
Right.
Yeah.
So perfect. So yeah. So a dude with intelligence flying at me very fast with a mace is going to scare the shit out of me.
Best technology. Again, at first, like I said before, Archangel would have an edge from distance. From a long distance, he can, hold his own.
Oh, I think it'd be so bloody. I think it'd be super bloody, because those metal wings just flying everywhere and slicing them up.
Like I said, the paralyzing, toxins would, hurt Hawkman for a little bit, but when it's all said and done, once he gets off the canvas, it's over.
I'm gonna also dub this officially the Black Knight quandary. Whereas we will say that is a tainted character.
Right.
I was looking to fight. I was ready. I was ready to fight you, Kevin. I was ready. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have to, because you did the job for me. Hawkman obviously is a superior character, and anybody else that says different,
you're crazy.
Fight me on YouTube. But
YouTube fight. 3 o'clock
nowhere
after
else,
school.
Just YouTube is fine, not in person. I don't want to make you upset or embarrass you or anything. But seriously though, it's so many more years of experience. Just Hawkman has the experience. He's not a nice man. He's definitely more pure than Archangel, who is definitely corrupted here. And being Warren Worthington III, he doesn't have the knowledge that Hawkman has. He doesn't have the battle experience.
No.
He doesn't have the things to fight for. Mm-hmm. He just has programmed in his head, must fight for Apocalypse, must do this for Apocalypse.
And prior to that, he was just a rich kid.
Right. Rich,
he was a trust fund kid.
Yeah. Hawkman has things to fight for. He believes in his whole planet. Oh. His whole planet of people in alien space, if you're going that route, or with his reincarnated wife
his
that
true
he must,
love,
if he hasn't found at this point when he's fighting him, he must find.
Yeah,
he's going to use that.
That's motivation.
I must find my wife. You will not stop me from doing that.
And not only that, in my scenario, you're on that planet Thanagar. You're on his territory. You're disrespecting him.
And good luck if Apocalypse shows up, because all those Thangarians against Apocalypse, Jesus, man.
Well,
that's a bloodbath.
You're actually playing into the second half of my story, which we'll get into at another point in time, where it was going to be about that.
We'll have that for another day. But that being said, I believe Jarrett here has something that might tickle your fancy.
So, as I came home one night, a little buzzed from the alcohol and still reeling from our awesome superhero Smackdown of that night, I was constantly just thinking of cool battles. And I got hooked on the teams. I did a New Mutants versus New Teen Titans, and I was like...
Which was excellent.
Thank you. And I said... I was actually going... I was like, let's just do another one-on-one. Let's keep it... Let's go back to my roots.
Right.
And then...
Inspiration.
Literally, I almost texted you guys, but it was midnight, and I'm like, I can't do it. And then I forgot it the next day, and then luckily it came back to me. I came up with the world... Because... It actually was your inspiration, because Donald was collecting some Invaders issues, which were kind of like throwbacks to what was happening in World War II with Captain America and Namor, all the World War II Marvel characters fighting in World War II. then I started thinking of, like, well, who would be their composite characters in another comic realm? And I started thinking of DC Comics, and then I thought of the Freedom Fighters.
This excites me because I know a little bit. I mean, I think it was like the Human Bomb or something.
The Human Bomb.
And Uncle Sam. And a few others, but I don't really know much about them. So I'm excited for this.
I'm going to tell you a little bit. Now, the Freedom Fighters characters originally appeared in Quality Comics in the 1940s. So good luck getting their first appearances, because I looked at them and they're rough. It's just...
You got to take out a mortgage?
Yeah, anything in the 40s, one, finding it in good condition, and then one, finding it for prices that you can afford. But they were originally absorbed by DC Comics, and the DC version of the characters, they were from this parallel universe. This all played into the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths, how DC started creating... Because DC absorbed all these comic companies.
Carlton.
Yeah, Charlton, Quality. And they started, instead of...
Fawcett.
Yeah, and Fawcett. And what was smart is what they did is they said, okay, this is Earth S, this is Earth X, this is Earth... So instead of like just negating all their history, they kind of just took it in, but then made it another parallel universe. Which
Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew.
And Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew, that's right. So the Freedom Fighters were from a parallel world of Earth X.
Earth X.
In Earth X...
Brand X.
Exactly. In Earth X, Nazi Germany eventually won a prolonged World War II due to a Japanese invasion of California and the development of nuclear weapons by the Nazis. So basically, the Freedom Fighters are constantly fighting the Nazis still in this weird, warped World War II where we lost.
Man in the High Castle, is that not?
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, whereas the Invaders were literally just... The Invaders characters were all from the 1940s, but the Invaders comic was kind of recreated, like, as far as, like, stories of what these guys were doing as a team. They kind of made it like a team, because there was a Captain America comic in the 40s. Mm-hmm. There was the Wizard, there was Namor, Bucky, and all these characters. So, cut to my battle. Somehow these World War II characters, it could be Earth X guys end up in our regular Marvel Universe World War II, and they're like, what's going on? I don't even care. There's a misunderstanding. That's how it always happens. And they fight. Now, much how I did in, if we've heard it already or if you haven't, in the New Mutants vs. New Teen Titans, I kind of matched up people with... I kind of... Because it's teams, I had to match up a person by person. I don't want to just do a free-for-all and have to explain that crap.
That's right.
So, I did... let me first get over the team members. Freedom Fighters, I had the original team of Uncle Sam.
Okay.
Black Condor, Doll Man.
Oh, Black Condor! I remember, man, they brought him back in the Death of Superman run too.
They brought him back, but I think there was another version. It was like it was like the guy who took up the mantle. I think.
Gotcha.
So, Doll Man, Phantom Lady, the Ray, and the Human Bomb.
Okay.
And the Ray, yes.
The Ray was another guy who had a dude take over for him after too. And then for the Invaders, and both these teams had a lot of people join on later on, so I'm kind of going with the core groups and also matching with numbers.
Gotcha.
For the Invaders, I have Captain America, the Human Torch, who is the android Human Torch.
Right, the original.
Jim Hammond, I think it was. Mm-hmm. The British Captain America, Union Jack.
Nice.
Bucky, Captain America's sidekick. Toro,
yeah.
Human Torch's sidekick. And Namor, the Submariner.
Can't go wrong there.
That's a big one.
Yeah. He plays a key role in all this.
Okay.
So first we have round one. We have Uncle Sam versus Captain America. Uncle Sam's powers are really interesting. He's technically, if at least how he was written later on, he is the spirit of America. He's not even like a real being. He's literally like the spirit of America. He's got super strength, can grow in size.
Oh, cool!
One of the things is he could teleport people to the
Promised Land.
The Promised Land, like pretty much, like yeah. So, and then,
what happens there in the Promised Land?
I don't know. I guess he's just
Orgies.
like, hey, we're all here.
Lots of
everything's
sex.
Okay, right? So,
bologna sandwiches for everyone.
Exactly. Everybody, just wave your flag and light some firecrackers. So I have Uncle Sam versus who would he fight? Captain America.
Right.
Makes sense.
This is going to be the one right off the bat. There might be some controversy. Captain America and Uncle Sam are both die hard, fight for the dream, Americans, freedom.
Red, white, and blue blood.
Red, white, and blue. Yeah, bleed red, white, and blue. Captain America is a super soldier. He was a human. He was Steve Rogers. He was imbued with the super soldier serum. He got super strength. He's got his shield of vibranium. The thing is, Uncle Sam, Captain America is the heart of America. Uncle Sam is America.
The soul of
He's
America.
literally the soul and the spirit of America. I see this as just a battle of wills, and by the end of it, bloody, beaten, Captain America loses because Uncle Sam is the spirit. And having said that, after he does beat him, Uncle Sam is torn apart because he just had to fight like his avatar of America.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So he is just
He's devastated.
So let's just leave Uncle Sam like that, totally torn
Crying
apart,
in the corner.
crying in the corner with a fucking dead, beaten Captain America.
Probably hugging him.
By the way, speaking of Captain America, and I forgot to mention this earlier, you know when I mentioned that the Shiny Knight was like frozen in ice,
Animation.
Right.
Captain America also was.
Oh,
here's the difference. Captain America was created in March of 1941. The Shining Knight was created in September of 1941.
Holy shit.
6 months.
So not much time separated the ideas of being frozen and revived in a modern world.
Wow.
Very fascinating. Anyway, continue.
No, that's cool. The next fight I have is Black Condor versus the Human Torch. This one's going to go pretty quick. The Black Condor's powers is he has the mutant ability to fly. Don't really know his speed or duration he can fly. He has a limited telepathic ability, which just to me says, meh.
Well, if he's facing an android.
Yeah, exactly. And he carries a ray gun, and he could fire a black force beam of adjustable.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't sound good.
This is going to go really quick. The Human Torch pretty much just toasts him, and he's just bones and ash,
He's
and
dead.
he's dead. Yeah.
Yep.
He's gone.
So that was a quick one. Then I have another interesting one that could go either way. I have Doll Man versus Union Jack. Doll Man is kind of like Ant-Man without the Pym particles. He could shrink to like a size of an ant, but still maintain the same strength as a human.
Mm-hmm.
Union Jack is skilled, like MI-13 super spy, very skilled with a knife and gun, and a master tactician and martial artist.
He's like the Punisher.
Yeah, he's like British Captain America Punisher.
Also, he has altered strength.
I don't know if he has altered strength, but he's like the representation of the United Kingdom. Like he literally wears the Union Jack on him. But yeah, he doesn't have super strength or anything like that. Dollman still has normal strength, but he can shrink. Now, Dollman doesn't ever. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't read a ton of Dollman stuff, but as far as I know, he wasn't the type of guy that was like super devious, where he'd like crawl into his ear and like explode into his brain, like something like that.
Also, very different from the Full Moon Doll Man movies.
Exactly.
With Tim Thomerson.
It's very, very
By the way,
different than.
pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Interesting idea. Yes.
Definitely check out Dollman the movies. My thing is I'm going to give this one to Union Jack because
Really?
he's a spy. He's a super forms of espionage. So some guy crawls up on you, he's going to sense it. Like he's just going to know like something's amiss, something's wrong. It's just Dollman isn't known as like a skilled tactician fighter. He's just a guy who can shrink and stuff like that. So I think it's literally just Union Jack is too gritty for him. And it gets messy, and he's a little stuck pig. Then I have Phantom Lady versus Bucky.
Ooh.
This is going to go the other way.
Okay.
Phantom Lady, in her original incarnation, was a very scantily clad... One of the sexiest outfits in comicdom, period.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah. She's also... she had like a black ray gun, but I'm going to give her abilities that were given to her later of a phantom. She had, I think, through technological means, she could become intangible and tangible, kind of like the Vision.
That would make sense
Right.
with the name Phantom Lady.
Exactly. So right off the bat, oh, and this was another thing too. I guess they kind of explained this. Why she wore that outfit was to distract
People.
Ah, clever.
people, specifically men. Who are like, oh my god, this will. Oh! She punched me in the face.
Look at
Yeah.
those titties.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Bucky is a young man, a young virile man who sees Phantom Lady and is like,
And this is pre-Winter Soldier.
way pre-Winter Soldier. Yeah, this Bucky has martial art skills and he's a really good fighter and tactician. That's pretty much the
You're
limit.
playing to the hormones.
Yeah, playing to the hormones. he's just like, and also
just say-
old fashioned. I can't hit a woman,
Right.
but I can materialize my hand in your heart or just knock you out, and poor Bucky's gone.
Oh, shit.
So I give that to Phantom Lady.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Right.
Then, in much the same vein, another sidekick, I have Toro, who's got flame powers, much like, I think they explain Toro later on as an Inhuman, actually, like in Recon stuff or whatever. First, the Ray. The Ray can control and bend light energy. To me, and he can fly, just like Toro and all that. To me, Toro, this is just an experience level thing. Toro is also made out of flame, which is a form of light. So the Ray can technically kind of manipulate that light, and just pretty much it's another quick one. It's just
out.
yeah, it's just a concussive force of like energy through Toro, and he's gone. And he's also the sidekick guy, so I don't give him as much credibility as say Human Torch. So I give that one to the Ray. And then finally, this is another quick one. This one went quicker than I thought. I was like, oh, this is gonna be really evenly matched. It goes quicker. Submariner. Namor the Submariner versus the Human Bomb. The Human Bomb is awesome. I love him. He's just this dude who's in this like almost like a hazmat outfit and can explode. He can make himself explode. He's a human bomb. Everybody is very specific to what they can do.
Right.
Doll Man, Phantom Lady, the Ray can shoot rays. So Human Bomb, whereas he can hurt Namor. Namor comes up to him, gets blown up. Namor's hurt, but Namor can heal. He's got super strength. He just gives him a bear hug, breaks his back. He's done. It's a pretty quick one.
Okay.
Whereas the Human Bomb messes him up, but Namor, it's just not enough for Namor. So then we go into round 2, where it's actually even. If you haven't been paying attention, it's 3-3. We have Uncle Sam versus Namor, Phantom Lady versus Union Jack, and the Ray versus Human Torch. This is going to go really bad for one team. And I think you're going to find out really quick.
Oh, I think I know.
Uncle Sam is now beaten down, sad. He's just, like I said...
Lost motivation.
He's lost motivation. He had to fight and kill the Avatar of America, which he is the embodiment of. Namor don't give a fuck about America.
Nope.
Sometimes he does, but mainly he's all about Atlantis and himself, more importantly, himself. So, Namor's strength against a very beaten down, demoralized Uncle Sam... I'm going Namor.
Yep.
Namor's not holding back whatsoever. Whereas this guy would be like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I'm Uncle Sam. You must enlist.
Crack his neck.
Yeah. Phantom Lady, Union Jack. Now it's going to be vice versa. Whereas Phantom Lady before could con the young Bucky with,
charm.
Or just getting his balls all curled up. Union Jack's like, oh, I've been there, miss. I know how to handle these women. I'm a super spy.
I'm James Bond before there was James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond before the James Bond. Outsmarts her, knifes her, shoots her, something quick. I mean, yes, she can become intangible and all that stuff, but I think it's like a scientific thing, so I think he can outsmart her and win. So I give that to Union Jack. And then finally, the Ray versus Human Torch. Human Torch is pissed off because the Ray just killed his sidekick. And the Human Torch is like super android. He was what the Vision became eventually. And he's got like unlimited flame power against the Ray who... Yes, he's got light-bending energy powers, but I'm just saying a pissed-off Human Torch versus, a fairly confident Ray.
Maybe overconfident.
Yeah, I'm going Human Torch. So pretty much at that point, it's just over and done. The Invaders take it with 3 left over.
Nice.
And then they have a funeral for their dead colleagues.
And then they go, oh, wait, we were all fighting for America. Whoops.
Let me see your list here. I was with you for a bit.
Yeah.
I really was. Like, I love that Uncle Sam, Captain America, Uncle Sam's defeated after he beats
That was a
Captain
fun one,
America.
because that was a hard one.
Yeah, and it would be necessary that Uncle Sam be crippled at the end of that. And I get the Human Torch Black Condor. Makes no sense. The first one I draw umbrage with is Doll Man versus Union Jack.
Yeah, me too.
Doll Man, thank you. I appreciate that, because Doll Man, where you think he might not be a tactician, has been fighting Nazis on a planet where the Nazis have won over and over and over. And if you can think that he wouldn't crawl into someone's ear at this point,
or up their nose,
right? You're not on the right side, because Doll Man would do that. He would do whatever is necessary.
Chess versus checkers.
To change the tide of this war. Doll Man would easily
Who'd have him against Union Jack?
defeat Union Jack. Easily. I would say it wouldn't last more than a minute before he was in his brain punching him until he turned completely incapacitated.
I'm not opposed to that. One.
Now, Phantom Lady versus Bucky, I was cool with. I get that. That completely makes sense. The Ray versus Toro makes sense. Now, when you got the Human Bomb versus Namor, that also makes sense to me because the Human Bomb is a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Namor is not.
Right.
Namor is a king.
Right.
He's a smart man. The Human Bomb is I would call him a sidekick to Uncle Sam, really.
Right.
I wouldn't call him anything more than that. Now, when we get to that round 2, that's where I have this. So, Uncle Sam and Namor, I get it.
Right.
Namor is ready to just destroy Uncle Sam. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. He doesn't realize that Doll Man had won.
Interesting.
Doll Man enlarges himself back, thereby sacrificing his own self to completely explode Namor.
Oh, okay.
And crushing himself inside his Namor's body and completely incapacitates Namor, leaving Uncle Sam on his own to completely grieve.
Right.
Okay? Phantom Lady, there's no Union Jack anymore.
That's true.
Phantom Lady and the Ray is just left versus the Human Torch.
Right.
With Uncle Sam left off to the side. Phantom Lady can phase in and out. Mm-hmm. The Ray can use these light rays to bend. Mm-hmm. The two of them are going to go after Human Torch. 1-2 combo, 1-2 combo. It's going to come down to the fact that Uncle Sam is going to see his comrades being destroyed.
And
He's going to have to bring back that spirit.
Right.
Going to have to harness his power and just enlarge himself to the point where it's just like touching a hot stove with the Human Torch, and he just crushes him.
Right.
It's over. Phantom Lady's injured. The Ray is crippled, but still alive. Uncle Sam is definitely alive, but his spirit is crippled. And all of the Invaders have lost to the Freedom Fighters.
I love that. I actually...
Now, that is an interesting
I'm still going to stick with my... I'm going to stick with my initial run, but...
Not bad, huh?
But that is awesome. And that could totally be legit.
Right.
For sure.
And anybody that has a comment on what they think as far as this is concerned, if you'd like to post that or just email us or post it, we're going to put these up on YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. Post a comment on YouTube.
Yeah,
We'd
please
love
give
to
us
hear
your take.
What you guys think.
Well, first off, you also had me with... I was like, I want to read that comic where Namor gets exploded by a sacrificing doll man who's like, I just got crushed by Namor's ribcage, but he's dead too.
Right.
And then I want to see just newly fired up Uncle Sam crush an android.
Enlarge himself. Because you were like, when you mentioned that, I was like, this didn't happen. You said it, but it didn't happen.
Well, at first, I used to think the Uncle Sam character was a joke. I was like, they literally had Uncle Sam as a character. That's like, like we had Captain Crunch as a real guy, and I was like, that. But yeah, no, they made him a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kevin, as far as this battle's concerned?
Both those scenarios are very plausible. I like both, to be honest with you. I really like both. I don't know.
Do you have an alternative reality to this fight? Because I'd love to hear it if you do.
I'm thinking right now. I'm trying to think, how can we reconstitute this?
But I think where Doll Man explodes inside Namor.
I love that.
I
also love a guy named Doll Man killing Namor.
Right. I love these kind of scenarios.
What if Human Bomb instead fought Human Torch first in round 1? How you guys think that would play out?
That's what I'm saying. When you do these team ones, you have to kind of bite down and stick with somebody because that's what. But that's also what's cool about it. For instance, right now is what you're saying is, what if we switched it around and things like this played out like
Captain America against Phantom Lady. Him being an experienced cat, he wouldn't obviously fall for her charms.
But also think about 1940s behavior of a gentleman.
Right.
Keep his eyes off her breast.
Yeah, eyes off her breast, and I can't hit a woman, and she's like, if she's got no compunction about phasing through it,
Right. That would depend. Yeah, I mean that could be an easy one, in and out, and she's victorious. Captain America's dead. His heart's gone. She's just crushed it.
Or if it was like Human Bomb versus Bucky,
right.
Sorry, Bucky.
Right. And meanwhile, Uncle Sam is off fighting whoever Phantom Lady was fighting, which in the first round was what? Bucky.
And also you got to give it to Freedom Fighters everybody on their team actually has a power of sorts. The Invaders, a couple of the guys are actually just like good fighters, or spies or tacticians or all of the above. But,
I would say probably 7 times out of 10 Freedom Fighters would win, depending on how you recombine the matchups. I think the Freedom Fighters would probably win about 70% of the time.
To me, Namor was like
The X Factor.
The X Factor, because he's so much overpowered than like most of all the other characters.
Right.
But
how often did Namor, in specific, fight somebody that could enlarge themselves like Giant Man? I'm sure probably at some point he fought Giant
later,
Man.
but in the World War II scenario, he was probably not. They had a couple like super villains, but for the most part,
that would all be dependent then upon Dollman being able to take down Union Jack. If he couldn't, then Namor definitely is the X Factor, and if not, then Dollman is actually the X Factor.
I was going to say Dollman. Well, yeah, for sure.
Very interesting kind of combination. These characters. I was really excited to hear some of these. I'm so sad that Black Condor, he kind of sucked so bad.
But this was super fun. I loved putting also just the World War II aspect of like,
of course,
noble intentions, and then these guys just fucking each other up.
This was a great one. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Yes.
If you like comic books and your friends like comic books, tell them about this comic book podcast show.
Please leave comments. Let us know if you think we're idiots with our decisions, or do you think we're brilliant?
Well, if you think we're brilliant, please comment. If we're idiots,
mostly
just
the
don't
brilliant.
Comment. Yeah, it's cool. You can talk about us in your man caves at home, but you don't have to comment. It's cool.
So with that, I'm Jarrett.
I'm Kevin.
And I am Donald today.
And we'll see you at the comic shop.